What's up everyone? I'm Luke Milano. Yes, I've got pineapples on my shirt. Yes, I'm pumped about today's topic as we are talking about working with what you've got. And with that,
let's get rockin'!
when Alfred Hitchcock was making the movie Psycho, it was during a time where you were not allowed to show any on-screen violence. When he got to the point when he filmed that famous shower scene, all the creative cuts that he did where he didn't actually show any knife stabbing into a body, it's not because he originally wanted to do it that way, it's because he wasn't allowed to. That limitation that was placed on him caused him to become more creative, and that is now one of the most famous scenes in movie history. It's actually probably the most famous scene in movie history. You need to apply this type of creativity in your everyday life. I mean, I don't have nearly as much stuff as most YouTubers do. In fact, I don't really own anything. Everything that I'm shooting these videos on, I borrowed from work, and I have to tear my apartment apart to shoot these because I don't have like a spare bedroom or, you know, an office or anything like that. So now I'm gonna show you my setup and how haphazard and just crazy it is. And you're probably expecting me to pull out my iPhone and film it on that, but I can't even do that because I'm using my iPhone as a monitor. So it's time for me to dust off the old trusty Sony You know what, I'm gonna grab that thing. So it's time for me to head back to the skateboarding days and dust off the old trusty standard definition VX2100. Alright guys, we got the VX rocking. I just, right when I turned this camera on, it's been like the first time in a while, but it just turned right on and I saw like the last clip that I filmed of skateboarding, so I'm just gonna play that, just for old time's sake. Alright guys, I really wanted to do the VX thing, but I have been trying literally for like 5 or 6 hours to get that mini DV tape onto something that I can edit it on, and I just cannot figure it out. If you couldn't tell, the skateboarding thing, I just filmed my TV. I plugged the camera into my TV and just filmed it like that with this Canon, but I could not figure out how to actually get the footage onto my computer, and it was really hard in the eyes, so I'm using my laptop and doing this now. But, so here's the setup. We got a Canon 5D Mark IV right there. Within the first week of working at my new job, I used money out of my annual budget to buy that. Just got a kit lens, 24-105 on just a tripod. This is a pretty cheap Rode mic. I think it was like less than $100. I got a boom pole. And then this is just like, it's not really a boom stand. It's just like a thing that you would put like a microphone, like a singer's microphone in. Just kind of slap that in here and just strap the old duct tape around it. I've shot 4 videos and it's not fallen yet. That's the monitor right there. That's why I had to try all day to get that VX1000 footage on here, because that is part of the setup. That's the monitor. That's how I see myself. And look at how funny this thing is. It's just so funny looking. It's just like, it's not even like attached to anything. It's just one of my kitchen chairs with a box full of Christmas stuff. The phone is just leaning up against this, and I got like a little bit of duct tape. So funny. The laptop usually sits there, and that's where I keep my notes for when I'm recording. And by the way, this laptop is also a work laptop. I don't actually own anything that I could edit on. This light doesn't have a dimmer. This is my hair light. That right there is pointing down towards that chair where I'm sitting, so we can get a little bit of light on the back of my shoulder, back of my hair. This light right here is lighting up that portion of the background. It was getting pretty dark, like that part right there where you can see that little silver thing, that was completely dark until I put this light on it. Got this sick candle here, man. The thing is lit. And then this part of the background is lit obviously by the lamp. I wish I could get a little bit more light on it, but I do not have any more lights that I have access to. So that's what we got. There's a really, really ugly, pretty distracting like cable box thing right here. I can't get this out far enough for you to see in there, but I needed to cover that up. It looked pretty bad. There was too much sunlight coming in through here during the day when I was shooting during the day, so I just went ahead and just nailed an old comforter into my door. Normally, my couch is right here. My couch is here, facing that TV right there. But it is currently backing up into my kitchen because I needed it out of the way for this, so I had to just move the old couch into my kitchen. You can probably see here that the fridge is pulled out. It's because I had to unplug it so that the humming wouldn't mess up the audio. I'm so close to my kitchen where I'm shooting that if there's any noise from that, it would have messed it up pretty badly. So yeah, this is it, guys. Just a complete and utter mess. But if anything ever comes to this channel, I will get to look back at this video and it will be pretty satisfying.
The point I'm making is that your limitations are only going to stop you if you allow them to. And it was tough to get my background to look the way I wanted it to. I mean, it took me like 4 or 5 hours the first time I did it. We haven't even talked about the fact that I work over 40 hours a week at my full-time job, but you're not going to hear me use that as an excuse either. Because the way I'm dealing with that is I'm shooting a bunch of these videos all over one 3-day weekend so that I don't have to work from like 9 in the morning until like the end of a basketball game, which can be at like 10:30 at night sometimes. And then after all that, come home and tear my apartment up to shoot one of these. No, I realized that that would have been too hard to do, so I came up with a way to deal with it. And I mean, secondly, like, I really wish that I could have some of these just amazing drone shots of these waterfalls and cliffs and stuff like that, but at this point in my career, it's just not going to happen. And by the way, I have been to a lot of places. I backpacked Europe by myself for 3 summers in a row. But when I did all that traveling, I wasn't able to bring a camera because I don't own one. And the universities I've been working for, they're not just gonna be like, yeah man, just take thousands of dollars of equipment and just take it over an ocean. You know, no worries, man, that's fine. So I've been to all these amazing, like, picturesque places, and it like sucks that I didn't come home with any footage. And yes, I took some stuff on my iPhone. I know that's what you're thinking, but it's just not the same. Actually, the first summer that I went, really the first 2 summers that I went, I had an iPhone 5S, and those things were a lot worse than the ones now. I always told myself like I would meet someone that really enjoyed shooting because I really enjoy editing, and we just like join forces, and I have done that before. I worked on this project at this camp for kids with special needs, and like there was a guy that shot and I was the one that edited, and like that's fun when that happens, but I should have just taken the first step, like saved up for a camera and just done it. But it's really not fair for me to complain about it. I mean, just consider how impossible this would have been to try and do that when my parents were my age. I mean, first of all, the internet didn't exist, so I mean, you know, there's that. And secondly, athletics departments didn't have like video teams because back then they didn't have video boards. So I wouldn't have been able to have been hired by an athletics department in the first place, which is where I'm able to borrow some of this equipment from. And as expensive as all this camera equipment is now, it's really not like it used to be. Now it's like gimbals and all these secondary things that are super expensive. But back then, getting a camera was like next to impossible. And a good example is just like what you shot on. Like you're shooting on film. Film is extremely expensive, way more expensive than like a couple of SD cards. So hopefully one day I own all the equipment I want, and by the way, when that day comes, I will have earned it because I tore my apartment apart every time I wanted to make a video, and I unplugged my refrigerator and duct taped stuff together. But until that happens, I'm just gonna be grateful that I can even attempt to do this. This really is the type of attitude that you need to have, because if you let the fact that you don't have all the latest gadgets and the professionally lit studio and all that stuff bog you down, you're going to psych yourself out before you even start. You just gotta approach this situation like no matter what the obstacle is, I'm going to figure out a way to get it done. That's it for today, guys. You can probably tell I'm pretty passionate about this one. I really think it's something that some people need to hear. If you enjoyed this video at all, please like it, please subscribe, do the notifications thing, because I want to keep doing this, and maybe one day, I'll be able to buy my own key light that has a dimmer on it.